Welcome back to Sunrise Daily, and we're keeping our focus on internal democracy and party primaries, which we've recorded across so many states in the country. But joining me to do that now is Ezekiel Etok. He's the Director General of the Nigeria First Project, also a governorship candidate of the Young Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State. Am I right?
Yeah, almost candidate.
Almost candidate. Why is it almost?
Consensus, I would say. Having been a co-founder and the Pioneer National Chairman, the National Working Committee, the Executive Committee at the Center, felt that if I ever indicated interest in the office of the governorship of Akwa Ibom State, that they would buy the form. They would do everything.
The form has been bought for you now.
Everything has been done. So on Saturday, there will be the formality of presenting it to me. And I feel a debt of gratitude because having left the party, one would expect that, out of sight to be out of mind. And when they heard, for them to have done what they did or what they've done or what they are doing, I felt really, really honored and rekindled hope in the fact that Nigeria remembers its own. It just depends on how you play your game.
So now that you've seen how the political intrigues are playing out,
yes.
You've seen primaries being held by the APCs of other states, and some other parties as well been holding their own primaries. Yeah. What impression do you get in the sense that how prepared are these parties getting to the 2019 elections?
I think that we need, as Nigerians, to be extremely careful what narratives we follow and how we follow those narratives. We are where we are today as a nation because of how we have run our political systems prior to this time or up to this time. Politics has been, in housing, you have luxury housing, or I segmented it into luxury housing, affordable housing, and social housing. Luxury housing is the exclusive preserve of the rich, while social housing, in fact, I would have to network with SDP and give them some. I like the idea of them wanting to go into housing, and we need to learn to collaborate. I like to give them some things because government subsidizing like he's done is a good idea, but there could be a better model, and I want to give them credit for it. Coming back, you have luxury housing, social, affordable housing, and social housing. Now, while luxury housing is for the rich, social housing is for the poor. Now, in politics, we've had luxury politics played all along. We've not done social politics. As a result of the sort of politics we've been playing with is luxury politics. It's politics of interest exclusively for the rich at the top. The poor are just used to legitimize the process of them getting to power. Nobody thinks in terms of service. They all think in terms of power. That is why you now have problem with primaries, because the primaries is the process of bringing up the candidate that will represent your party. Now, that candidate must be one that meets with how the party conceives itself to be, the interest. If you look at the people that they've been bringing out to superintend over our affairs, either as governors or as president, you look and you don't see the most qualified person. Rather, you see the most loyal person. So the importance is not your capacity to deliver to the people, but your capacity to be loyal to the system. At a stage, it used to be godfathers, 1, 2 people really. In some places, it still happens that way.
Where have you seen that?
All across Nigeria.
To be specific, can you be specific?
I wouldn't like to get into the politics of Lagos State as much as possible, but the general impression is that there is a man called Obong Tinubu, and that he is in control of the system. And if your loyalty is not to him, his vision, his programs, you get out of the way. But you see,
there are party guidelines.
Yes.
I mean, guidelines are supposed to be the supreme guide just to about any other process of electing our leaders.
In all
Do
parties,
you think that this direct or indirect system, or even the consensus candidature for the parties, is it fueling voices of discord?
Let me tell you a secret that if INEC takes, it will solve our problems. For reason of convenience, we had direct primaries, indirect primaries, and what you may even call consensus. Now, direct primaries is the one that lets everybody participate. Hardly does anybody do it. Even in APC, they did it only for the president, who didn't even have a second person. For me, it was just a waste of resources, because this is the only person that has bought the form. So we just needed the national committee, whatever we call it, national convention, and all those primaries in the states was just Mr. President should have said, please don't waste our money. It was not necessary. Okay, so all they needed was just
asked him to be a consensus.
Yeah, he's already a consensus. Nobody is contesting against him. So why all that ceremony of going through all the local governments to come and tell us, oh, he had 3.9 million votes in this place? It's probably just a means to a different end, which I hope is not, because Mr. President says he's a man of integrity. I expect him to come out and really stand on some of this. Don't be politically wise in certain areas and then Mr. Integrity in other areas. Integrity is integrity. It's blind. It applies in everything, even when it goes against your personal interest. That is what integrity is. But coming back, now, if in the guidelines, INEC should abolish indirect primaries and consensus, it will compel every party to have a register of its members. Parties don't. It was when I came in as the national chairman of Young Democratic Party that within 3 months, I put up an advert in Nigerian dailies asking for people that can give us the technology that will enable all my members to register and be able to vote online without coming. We had over 20 people from different parts of the country. 3 days we're going through, and what we had, I even wanted to give it to INEC. It was amazing, foolproof. And we started that process of electronic registration of members. Do you know why the big parties will not do that? Because all the numbers they are giving, they are bogus. They are false.
But the NWC in Ogun State has sent them a party members register.
You see, there's a different, when we talk in terms of electronic registration, we are saying as much as possible, lead it to verifiable means, not one person having if INEC handles it, they will link your registration to their database. If not so, I will have 10 registration membership cards of 5 different parties. So when it comes to voting, I'll vote anywhere I want. But we're thinking of something that is sane, something that is verifiable. Then you realize that when you know you cannot register in 2 parties, parties will begin the process of actually going to the people, of really campaigning for membership. As at now, all these things that we call parties, look at it, look at the mega rallies. It's just such a shame of a nation. The people that are in the mega rally in Eket, in Akwa Ibom State, they're the same people that for PDP. They're the same people that are in the mega rally for APC, because in parties, in rallies, the membership of the party forms less than 30% of the group. The rest are just people who are coming to see whether there's money, what's happening, they are bored and everything. So what you are seeing as the crowd is actually nothing reflexive of reality. But if INEC was to say, as from today, every membership of the party must be registered, and it must be those we can verify their membership. You can say, okay, I am a registered member, but I have not yet registered to vote. And I would wonder why a party would be interested in a member You can have the nominal membership, no problem. It can be, maybe you are below 18, you can have that, but we know you're not going to vote. So that registration is not important because you're not going to vote. But they should have and say, if you are of voting age and you are in any party, you must submit your membership, which is tied to your PVC. When you have that, parties will now, one, start going to the people. And then when we now have the primaries where you know that if this person you are bringing is not popular at home, you're going to have a very hard election and chances are that you're going to lose.
But does this really speak to internal democracy practice?
Yeah, because when you talk in terms of internal democracy is just the process of serving the interest. It's just the new parties that are coming up now that are starting to think a lot different. They are starting to, and you see, the problem that we have again is that we have been too fixated on the two big parties as Nigerians. We have been too fixated. If you look at a place like Lagos State, I can't remember their exact voting strength, but it is over registered over 5 million. If you look at this voting strength, and then you relate it to what the parties are having, you realize that over 60% of Lagosians or residents of Lagos State don't belong to either APC or PDP.
But if you make that claim, the other parties were recently registered, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
I can imagine that a handful of them have got their own candidates at this moment, presidential candidates. They didn't necessarily have to go through the processes that you're asking that they must go through, because they already have presidential candidates already.
Yeah, no, it's too late for 2019. We're talking in terms of 2023, going forward, how to beat this issue